Welcome traders and investors from across the globe. This is Fugazi, aka Cryptomill 13, and as always, striving to achieve absolute freedom. Welcome back. Today's video addresses one of the comments someone left in regards to my most recent video titled, "Is the ETN project dead?" But before I do that, let me welcome you with a drink. Today's beer of choice is called Warsteiner, and it's one of my favorite German beers. Cheers, Prost, Chin Chin, Slanche. Very good. And of course, as always, none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is strictly my documenting of my journey through the crypto space and sharing it with all of you. First off, I'd like to start by saying that I appreciate all comments that promote respectful dialogues regarding one's opinions about certain digital assets such as ETN. So thank you, Lee Martin, for your comment. And the reason why I'm addressing this via video is because I'm 100% convinced that he's not the only one with issues and concerns regarding ETN. I will try my best to address his valid points and bring respectful and truthful counter arguments to the table. So let me read what his comments are. I will break down the comments into sections and address each of them the best I can. So his comment starts, "It's dead because they have failed to take even 5% of the market on any task. And if you look at the daily volume, hardly anyone is using it, which is reflected in the price." So this is a pretty bold statement, and I'd like to know where the 5% is coming from. Is there a source that you can refer us to? If you do, that would be great. I'd like to read up on that. And I just looked at anytask.com again, and it looks like there are quite a few active users on both sides. So people who are seeking for services and also people who are providing services. So it's hard to tell with what the volume is compared to some of the other freelance websites out there. And I wasn't able to find anything that would support that market capture of only 5%, as you were saying. So maybe, again, if there's a published comparison between AnyTask and, for example, any of the other freelance websites out there like Fiverr, that would help support that statement. So I do agree, however, that the price of ETN may be affected by the performance of AnyTask. I mean, you could say that, obviously the better AnyTask does, or any use case for that matter, so the better they do, then the better the price of ETN as well. So I do agree with that statement. So the next section says, "They also constantly do wrong by investors and fans of the project. I, like many others, was locked out of my wallet for a year because they couldn't figure out how to do KYC properly." So yeah, I remember when KYC started, I read and heard about people having trouble with getting proper documents to prove who they are and prove that the wallet really belonged to them. So, but you know what? I personally did not have any issues with going through the process. As a matter of fact, I remember I actually forgot my password to access my mobile app, and I was able to reset it without any issues. And I'm sure there are and will always be exceptions to everything. And I remember one of my early subscribers, I think his name is Thomas, and he was from Germany. He also had issues accessing all his ETN. But I think what happened was actually one of his friends bought ETN for him, and something happened to the friend, and he wasn't able to access the funds, and he pleaded with technical support, and they weren't able to help him. So yeah, I get it. He basically lost all his ETN in the app. So unfortunately, we live in an imperfect world, and especially in the crypto space where there are little to no regulations at this time, things like this can happen. And I do understand and feel for everyone who lost coins, who weren't able to access their ETN in the app. And if I was in that situation, I would definitely feel the same too. So yeah, I totally understand that. The next section says they have changed the roadmap time and time again. And I do remember when they initially wanted to make a coin for gambling. So, a roadmap is exactly that. It's a road that has, forks and, curves and things like that. It's not always a straight shot. So I think them making these adjustments actually benefited ETN in the long run. And switching from being strictly a gambling coin to a payment coin, or a coin that can be used to buy vouchers on websites, I think they opened a much wider avenue for Electroneum. And then he goes to say, Richard has blown his chance to be listed on Binance by being highly unprofessional and has a history of failed projects. So this is a two-part statement. And I remember when Richard took to Twitter, so he went to Twitter and he actually directly addressed CZ, founder of Binance. He addressed him directly regarding getting listed on Binance. And I think he did that because they fulfilled all the requirements, to my knowledge, to be listed, but yet Binance did not list them. So I kind of understand why Richard did that. I think that was kind of like last resort. Hey, let me try and get to CZ on Twitter and maybe we'll get listed that way. So the second part states that he has a track record of failed projects. I can only verify that Richard has or had another marketing company which was very successful, and it was actually used by Herbalife, which is that multi-level marketing company. So I'm not aware of any failed businesses that he's had. And then he says they have failed to even acknowledge all their mistakes and wrongdoings against its investors and supporters, despite the negative sentiment on nearly all their social media channels. What you are left with is a charity project that people look negatively at, a tanking price on ETN, no volume, an incompetent team, and I'm sure it won't be long before they run out of the ICO money that they took and then spat in the face of the people that gave it to them. So listen, man, I can absolutely sense your disgust towards Electroneum and towards Richard Els and the company as a whole. And I think I would feel the same if my experience was similar. But I'm going to have to tell you, man, so far my experience has not been bad, other than the price, which is obviously a huge thing. But Richard Els is just too prominent. He's too well known to pull a scam, and I don't believe that ETN is actually a scam. I mean, Richard Els is one of the board directors of the British Pound Foundation, which there will be a video on that, about that as well. But in my opinion, Electroneum just hasn't matured yet, and it's been in existence for only really less than 7 years. I think it definitely has the potential to at least 10x next bull run, whenever that's going to be. I think we're kind of close to that, but we'll see. And the current price of 0.00262, I think that's a bargain. So, I think what ETN is lacking at this time is just more exposure and more use cases. I mean, right now, obviously you can use ETN on any task. You can top off your mobile devices. You can buy vouchers on Steam, which is like the front end of Valve, which is a gaming developing company. So you can actually use ETN to purchase games. And also Google Play Store, you can also purchase vouchers. And I think it's in India. I think in India you can purchase vouchers in Google Play Store. So yeah, Richard Els and team, they need to increase ETN's exposure in Western markets. So with all of that said, I totally get your frustration, and I would probably feel the same way if my experience was the same as yours. It's just that at this point, my experience hasn't been a bad one with Electroneum. and I still am a big believer in the project itself. And I'm hoping that next bull run will be good for Electroneum holders. Thank you so much for your comment, Lee Martin. Sorry Electroneum didn't work out for you. I hope you're still in the cryptocurrency world, and if you are, I hope you find a coin that'll actually work out for you and make you happy. And for everyone else, stay tuned. There will be more videos coming soon. And until then, continue to strive to achieve absolute freedom. Take care.